classification of elements into different blocks. How these elements in your periodic table are classified? What is the basic to classify? What is the on which basis these elements are going to be classified? First point, this is due to, it is based on, the classification is based on the electronic configuration. Based on the electronic configuration, all these elements in your periodic table are broadly divided into 4 blocks. So, in your exam, classify the elements based on your electronic configuration means nothing but indirectly he asks to block change. Indirectly he asks to block. Classify the elements based on electronic configuration. So here our periodic table is totally divided into 4 blocks. They are all are small letters: S block, C block, D block, and F block elements. So all these are divided into 4 blocks. They are S, C, D, and F block elements. See here where these elements are located in your periodic table. So that periodic table, the block diagram of this periodic table is like this. Just we have completed yesterday. This is the block diagram of our periodic table. So at the bottom, 2 series of elements are available, not groups, not periods. These are 2 series. So here, the splitting is there. Okay. This is all about your block diagram for our periodic table. Here, 2 groups are available. These 2 group elements are called as S block elements. So here 2 groups. Here 6 groups are present. These are the 6 groups. Already we completed yesterday. These 6 groups are considered as a P block elements. Why? We will explain. In between these 10 groups, between this S block and P block, there exist 10 groups. And these 10 groups are nothing but F block elements. F block elements. Here 2 series are there at the bottom. These are called as F block elements. All S, B, D, and F are small letters, my dear boys. Don't use capital letters. Okay? So these are the actual position of our block elements. So based on which concepts these are going to be divided? It is nothing but electronic configuration. Electronic configuration. Now, S block contains 2 groups. So here, the general outermost electronic configuration for the group elements is, see here, for this one, NS1 is the outermost electronic configuration. In this electronic configuration, that is the last electron. Every element, last electron is considered as a differentiating electron. Every group, every element, last electron is considered as a differentiating electron. Let us take an example. See here. That is lithium atom. Its atomic number Z is equal to 3 rad. Its electronic configuration is 1s2 2s1. 1s2 2s1. Here the last electron is this one. This last electron is entered into S orbital. Okay, this last electron is called as a differentiating electron. This last electron is called as differentiating electron. Why is that one is called as a differentiating electron? See here. The previous element for this helium is the previous element, that is preceding element. That preceding element, that previous element is helium. Helium. Its atomic number is Z is equal to 2. Its electronic configuration is 1s2. Its electronic configuration is 1s2. So when we compare this helium and lithium, so this lithium is compared with the helium, its preceding element. So here 1s2 configuration, here also 1s2 configuration. That means up to this, these two elements are same. This lithium is differ from its preceding element helium only with the help of this electron. This electron differentiates lithium from helium. This electron, what is that? Is that electron? Last electron. This last electron differentiates this lithium from helium. So that is it. The last electron is considered as differentiating electron. Let us take one more example. The next element is beryllium. Beryllium. Its atomic number Z is equal to 4. Electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2 and 2s2 means 2s1 plus 1. 2s1 plus 1. So up to this one, both lithium and beryllium are same. So only this electron, the second electron, only this electron differentiates beryllium from lithium. That means in beryllium, the differentiating electron is the second electron of 2s orbital. Second electron of 2s orbital. That means they differentiate that element from its preceding element. So that electron is called as differentiating electron. You should use the word must and shouldly. So differentiating electron. If this differentiating electron present entered into the s orbital, those elements are called as s block elements. If that is entered into the p orbital, are called as p block elements. If that is entered into the d orbital, are called as d block. If it is f block, s orbital, that is f block elements. That means all these elements are broadly divided into 4 types, depending on the entering of differentiating electron in which orbital. Depending on the entering of orbital in which orbital. So all these entire elements present in the periodic table are broadly divided into 4 types: S block, P block, and F block. P, D, and F block. So see here. This concept is already completed in your 10th class, but something more information we want to explain here. See here. Next one. So that means it is based on entering of differentiating electron. In the sub-energy level. So depending on the entering of differentiating electron in the sub-energy level means S sub-energy level, P sub-energy level, D sub-energy level, F sub-energy level, like that. So these are not S, P, D, F are not considered as orbitals. Those are considered as sub-energy levels. In which sub-energy level the differentiating electron entered, so the element belongs to that block element. Okay. Now here NS1 is the outermost electronic configuration. This is the differentiating electron. That differentiating electron entered into the S sub-energy level. That is why this group is taken as S block element. It is 1A group. For this, NS2 is the outermost electronic configuration. NS2 is the outermost electronic configuration. So here also second electron is the differentiating electron. That is also present in S sub-energy level. That is why it is also S block element. So it is a 2A group element. 2A group element. That means 1A, 2A are collectively called as S block elements. Here two groups are there. That is considered S block element. It is S block element. How many groups are there in S block? 2 groups are there. Why, sir? Why only 2 groups are available in S block? Because S sub-energy level contains only one orbital. That means S1 configuration, S2 configuration are only possible. That's why in S subenergy level, there is a maximum 2 electrons accommodation is available. That is why maximum 2 groups are possible for S orbital. S block. In S block, maximum groups are 2. Why, sir? Because S subenergy level contains only one orbital. In that one orbital, maximum number of electrons is equal to only 2. That is why it contains only 2 groups. But in p subenergy level, that means there is px orbital, py orbital, and pz orbital. Px, py, and pz. So this is px orbital, py orbital, pz orbital. It is considered as p subenergy level or p sublevel. It is P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6. Up to 6 electrons are possible. That's why here P1 configuration, P2 configuration, P3, P4. Sorry. P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6. In all these cases, the differentiating electron entered into the p subenergy level. That's why these elements are called as p block element. Here the configurations are. Here it is NS2 NP1. This electron is the differentiating electron. This is NS2 NP2 is the electronic configuration. This is NS2 NP3 is the configuration. Here NS2 NP4 is the configuration. Here NS2 NP5 is the configuration. Here NS2 NP6 is the configuration. Except helium. For helium, the configuration is 1s2. Because this electron entered into the s orbital, this helium is s block element. And even though it is present in p block, that should be the s block. That is the exception case there. So, see here, this is the differentiating electron. Here, second electron is the differentiating. Here, third electron is the differentiating electron. In every case, the differentiating electron entered into the p subenergy level. That is called as p block element. In p block, how many groups are there? 6 groups are available. Why, sir, only 6 groups are available? Because p subenergy level contains maximum of 6 electrons. P subenergy level contains maximum of 6 electrons. That is right. That contains 6 elements. 6 groups of elements are there. Next, in D block. So D block, that means D subenergy level has 5 orbitals. 5 orbitals. So D1 configuration, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6, D7, D8, D9, D10. That means maximum 10 electrons are possible in D subenergy level. That's why total 10 groups are available here because of this concept. Therefore, D block contains maximum 10 groups. Maximum 10 groups. So those are here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10. These are the D block elements. Next, F block element. That means here F orbitals are involved. In F orbitals, there is 7 orbitals are there. In F subenergy level, 7 orbitals are there. 7 orbitals are there. So F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, F6, F7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. How many elements are there? That means how many electrons are possible? 14 electrons are possible. That means here 14 electrons, here 14 electrons are exist in the first series and second series. These series elements, the differentiating electron entered into the F subenergy level. So all F orbital, that's why these are called as F block elements. Here 14 elements plus 14 elements. Why only 14 elements are considered, sir? Because 14 elements are possible for 14 electrons are possible for F block elements, the F orbital cell. Okay, so these are nothing but lanthanide and actinide. Lanthanide and actinide, these are the elements. In that is first 14 is lanthanide, second 14 is the actinide elements. So this is roughly how many groups are available, how many elements are available in different blocks. Now we are taking one by one. S block elements. What are these S block elements? Here two groups are there. So their electronic configuration, general outermost electronic configurations are NS1 and NS2. Roughly, the combination is taken as, here it is, by the combination of this electronic configuration, it is taken as NS is common, 1 to 2 is the outermost, general outermost electronic configuration for S block elements. Collection of these two arguments, collection of these two groups. So NS1 is possible, NS2 is possible. This is the general outermost electronic configuration for S block elements. For S block element, general outermost electronic configuration is NS1 to 2. NS1 for first group, NS2 is for second group, NS1 to 2 is the S block general electronic configuration, general outermost electronic configuration. In S block, 1 year group and 2 year groups are available. 1 year group elements are, what are these 1 year group elements? So 1 year group elements are lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium. Next, 2 year group elements are beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, radium. So these are the 6 plus 6. Total 10 elements are present in S block. The last element, that is the francium and radium, are radioactive elements. Francium and radium, every group last element is, so every group last element is radioactive element. Okay, so in this case, here hydrogen also exists, my boys. It is not comes under first year group element, but this hydrogen electronic configuration is 1s1. That is the electron is entered into the first s orbital. Hydrogen is also present as S block element. That means please include this hydrogen also here. So along 1 year, 2 year group element plus hydrogen also. That means 6 plus 6, 12 plus 1, total 13 elements, not only 13. This helium also in S block addition. That means please include the helium also. That means total 7 plus 7, 14 elements are available in S block elements. Okay, in S block, the one and only noble gas element is helium. One and only noble gas element is helium, that is in S block. Next, for 1 year group element, the common oxidation state is the plus 1 because they have only 1 electron in their outermost orbit, and this is the plus 2 and 2 electrons in their outermost orbit. That means, so these are ready to lose electrons and get positive oxidation state. That is why these group elements are called as electropositive elements. They lose electrons and get positive charge. These are nothing but electropositive. All electropositive elements are nothing but metals. That means 1 year group elements are all metals. 2 year group elements are metals. That means S block elements are all metals. S block elements are all metals. They are losing electrons. Here, losing electrons are possible. Losing electrons. That means they involve in the chemical reaction by losing electrons with the gaining of electrons by others. That means S block elements generally form ionic compounds. Generally form ionic compounds. That means here ionic bond exists. Ionic bond exists. These are electropositive elements, nothing but metals. These metals are called as active metals. So why these are called as active metals? Active metals means when these metals, whatever it is the metal, if it is taken as active, that active metal reacts with dilute acid. When a dilute HCl reacts with active metal, that liberates hydrogen gas. Any metal which reacts with dilute acid liberates hydrogen, that metal is called as active metal. So all these S block elements are nothing but, most of the S block elements are active metals. Most of the S block elements are active metals. Okay. Most of the S block elements are active metals because, see here, so that means I'm writing when dilute HCl reacts with the sodium metal, dilute HCl reacts with sodium metal that gives NaCl and liberates hydrogen gas. NaCl and liberates hydrogen gas. Any metal which reacts with dilute acid, not only HCl, any dilute acid, if it liberates hydrogen gas, that is also automatically called as active metal. Like this, remaining elements are also possible. That's why S block elements are active case, active metal cells. Okay. Next, all these are electropositive. All these are electropositive. This gives flame tested. Next point in this case is that is all S block elements. So these group elements gives flame tested. Flame test. That means the source of these elements, when we place it in flame, they give different colors. They give different colors. So different colors. That means they give flame tested. Flame test. Flame test means, see here, I'm writing. For example, calcium salt is there. Calcium salt, that is like CaCl2, CaSO4, calcium sulfate, whatever it may be the salt, when it is placed in Bunsen burner flame. So Bunsen burner is like this. So here is flame is available. So this is the flame. So when we place the salt into the flame, this is the salt which is introduced to the flame. So this flame has different colors in it. Different colors. Actually, our flame is in blue color, light blue in color. Our gas color, cooking gas color is blue in color. Like this, here also available. So when we place the salt, automatically the color changes to brick red. Brick red color. That if calcium ion is exists. If calcium ion is exists, we observe the flame color is brick red. If barium ion is there, Ba+2 ion is there, that gives that is light apple green. Light apple green. If strontium ion is there, that gives the crimson red. These are the different colors observed in flame. When these salts are introduced into the flame, that means like this, alkali metals and alkaline earth metals, they give different colors with to the flame. That's why the test is called as flame test. By using those colors of the flame, we can identify which cation is available. So here, flame color test is possible for our alkali and alkaline earth metals. Flame test is possible. Next one, these elements have, so S block, we are discussing S block modifiers. These elements have low melting and boiling points. These metals have low melting and boiling points. Okay, so this is also very important. Next, they form ionic bonds. So mostly except lithium and beryllium. Except lithium and beryllium, mostly other elements can form ionic bonds. And they can form ionic compounds. Not only ionic bonds, those compounds having ionic bonds are called as ionic compounds. So general outermost electronic configuration is NS122. NS122. Here N is equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. 1, 2, 3, etc. It is nothing but principal quantum number. For hydrogen, N is equal to 1. For helium, lithium, N is equal to 2. For sodium, N is equal to 3. It is the outermost orbital. N is nothing but outermost orbit or shell. Outermost orbit or outermost shell. Okay, so these are the different points in S block condition. So general outermost electronic configuration. So differentiating electron entered into the S orbital. Okay, they have low melting and boiling point, they lose electrons, that's why they are electropositive in nature. Next, these are all active metals. So why these are active metals? When they react with that is a dilute acid or liberates hydrogen gas, those elements are called as active. All these are active metals. Next, the common oxidation states are +1 and +2. +1 for first group elements, +2 for second group elements. Common oxidation state for S block elements. Next one, they form ionic bonds. That is why they can give ionic compounds. They can give ionic compounds. Okay. Next, they have low melting and boiling point. They have low melting and boiling point. So because of that, so these are easy to cut with knife hand. Easy to cut with knife. Easy to cut with knife hand. So, manamki vegetable cut is easy kind. These elements we are going to keep cut. So easy to cut with knife hand. These are the properties of S block elements. All these are the properties of S block elements. Now we are taking P block elements. What are these P block elements? In S block, all are metals. In S block, all are metals. So mostly those are active metals. Now, P block elements. P block elements. What are these P block elements? P block elements. P block elements are nothing but, so here, first point, differentiating electron. Electron entered into P sub energy level, sub level. Differentiating electron entered into the P sub energy level or P sub level. Those elements are called as P block elements. So here total 6 groups are present, as P sub energy level has maximum of 6 electrons. Here 6 groups are present. So that is general outermost electron. Here what are those groups? That is the 13th group, 14th group, 15th group, 16th, 17th, 18th group. These are the groups present in the periodic table, comes under P block elements. So these 13th group elements are nothing but, that is boron, aluminum, gallium, indium, thallium. 14th group, carbon, silicon, germanium, tin, lead. 15th group, nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth. Oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium. Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astatine. Helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon. These are the elements. In periodic table, here helium is the exception case, that is comes under S block. So remaining all are P block elements. Here, the general outermost electronic configuration for this group element is NS2 NP1. NS2 NP1 is the outermost electronic configuration. For this, NS2 NP2 is the outermost electronic configuration. Here it is NS2 NP3, NS2 NP4, NS2 NP5, NS2 NP6. These are the outermost electronic configuration. That means in all these electronic configuration, NS2 is the commonest. NS2 is the common. So that means the sum of the combination of all these, that is NS2, common one, NP. Here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That means 1 to 6 is the general outermost electronic configuration. For S block elements, for P block elements. So next one, it is first point, it is second point. For third point, general outermost electronic configuration is equal to NS2 NP 1 to 6. NS2 NP 1 to 6. For third and 13th group elements, it is NS2 NP1. So like that, that is next one. Here it is nth orbit. Here it is also nth orbit. The last orbit contains S orbital and p orbital. Here S and p orbitals are completely filled. That means it is octet configuration. Those elements having octet configuration are nothing but stable elements. That means our noble gases are stable in nature. Stable nature. Remaining all are incomplete p orbitals are available. These are not stable. They are trying to stable by losing electrons, by gaining electrons, or by sharing electrons. That means here losing of electrons possible, gaining of electrons possible, and also sharing of electrons possible. Losing and gaining gives ionic bonds. Sharing gives covalent bonds. That means here ionic bonds and covalent bonds are possible. Mostly covalent bonds are possible. Mostly covalent bonds are possible. That means mostly these compounds are covalent in nature. Mostly these compounds are covalent in nature. Next, in S block elements, only metals are exist. That too active metals are exist. But in P block elements, metals, see here, indium, thallium, lead, bismuth, polonium, acetylene, technetium. These are all, but not this. So these are all metal sets. Remaining, most of the cases are non-metal sets. Non-metals. These are metals. These are all metals. Next, remaining mostly non-metals, germanium, that is stibinum, arsenic. So these are something. These are metalloids. Metalloids. That means this P block contains metals are there, non-metals are there, and metalloids are also there. That means P block contains metals, non-metals, and metalloids are exist, but mostly non-metals are exist. All the varieties are possible, but mostly non-metals are exist. Next. Here, NS2, NP1. Here also, that means if these three electrons involved in the bond formation, that gives a +3 oxidation state. These 4 electrons involved in the bond formation +4 oxidation state. Next, here 5 electrons, they gain 3 electrons to get octet configuration. So gaining gives -2, that is a -3 configuration. Here is 2 + 4, 6. 6 means 2 electrons are required. 2 electrons are gained. -2 configuration. -1 configuration. That means no configuration, no oxidation state. That means here positive oxidation state, negative oxidation states are possible. Positive oxidation state, negative oxidation state. Not only a single oxidation state, more than one oxidation state is possible for a particular element. That's why they also use variable oxidation state. So these are the oxidation states. Next, generally these are non-metals. So non-metals, so covalent compounds are favorable. Covalent compounds are favorable. So these are the some points. Next, here. This is called as noble gas elements. So helium is not considered here. That noble gas elements are very, very stable. So that means they reach octet configuration. Because of that, they are very, very stable, not involved in the bond formation. That's why these are inert in nature. These are inert in nature. So remaining elements are almost all involved in the reaction. Okay. So this is all about your P block condition. P block. Okay. Next one, we are discussing D block. S block, in S block, please note one point. In S block, they are ready to lose electrons, that they act as reducing agents. S block elements are reducing agents. P block elements act as both oxidizing agent and reducing agent. P block elements act as both oxidizing agent and reducing agent. P block elements act as both oxidizing agent and reducing agent. Okay, now we are discussing here D block elements, small d. D block elements. Where these D block elements are present? These are present in between S and P block elements. Okay, in between. That means S block elements are highly electropolluted. P block elements at the end, high electronegative elements are there. Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, all those are high electronegative elements. That means high electropositivity is slowly transforms into high electronegative elements through these D block elements. That means these properties are exist in between SL block properties and P block properties because these are available in between them. That means the properties of these D block elements are in transition between S and P block. That is why, so D block elements are generally called as transition elements. D block elements are generally called as transition elements. Why, sir? Why D block elements are called as transition elements? D block elements are present in between S and P block. S block elements are highly electropositive. At the end, P block elements are highly electronegative. That means the properties are in between S block elements and P block elements. So S block properties and P block properties. So that means, so here transitional middle properties are exist. So here highly electropositive. Those are highly electronegative. These are middle. Next, these are soft metals. These are non-metals. These are hard metals. Soft to hard and non-metal. That means the metallic property from left to right gradually decreases. Okay. So this is like this. The properties are in between S block and P block. That means the transitional properties. Transition means in between it. Transitional properties are exist. That's why these elements are called as transitional elements. Transitional elements. Next one. Here, total 10 groups are present. 10 groups are present. What are those 10 groups? Those are nothing but 13th group, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th. Sorry. Third it is, not 13, it is third. Third group, fourth group, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th. These group elements are total 10 groups. So these 10 groups are considered as D block elements. Why, sir? Why these are taken as D block elements? These are, in these elements, the differentiating electron enters into D subenergy level. Here the differentiating electron enters into D subenergy level. That is why these elements are called as D block elements. So that is why these elements are called as D block elements. Because the differentiating electron entered into the D subenergy level. D subenergy level. Okay. So see here in third grade there is scandium, yttrium, lanthanum, actinium. Scandium, yttrium, lanthanum, actinium. So now I am writing the elements here: scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc. Copper, zinc. One by one we are writing here. See my boys. Here, zinc, cadmium, mercury are there. Zinc, cadmium, mercury. Here, copper, silver, gold are existent. Copper, silver, gold are existent. So, are you by heart? Did you complete the periodic table yesterday? By heart the concept? So, you should by heart it, no doubts. Okay, see here. So now I am writing the electronic configuration of elements. Yes, good. Electronic configuration. Scandium. I am writing scandium. Scandium atomic number 20. Sorry. Z is equal to 21. Its electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2, 3d1. 4s2, 3d1. Now, this is the outermost electronic configuration. Here, the electron, it is the last electron. That electron entered into d orbital. That is the these are called as D block elements. So, for scandium, 4s2, 3d1 is the outermost electronic configuration. 4s2, 3d1. For this, 4s2, 3d2. For this, 4s2 3d 3 For this 4s1 3d 5n. Anomalous configuration. Chromium exception case. Already we completed. Here 4s2 3d 5 It is 4s2 3d 6. For this 4s2 3d 7. For this 4s2 3d 8. For this 4s2 3d 4s1 3d 10. For this for zinc 4s2 3d 10. These are the general outermost electronic configuration for the first series of elements. In all these series, the differentiating electron entered into the 3d orbital. See here. In all these cases, the differentiating electron entered into the 3d series, 3d elements. That is why the first elements are called as 3d series elements. Why these are called as 3d series elements? So in all these first series elements, the differentiating electron entered into the 3d orbital cell. No doubt all these are d block elements. In particular, it is entered into the 3d orbital. That is why this is called as 3d series. Next one, here it is the 4d series element. It is the 5d series element. It is the 6d series element. That means in all these elements, so the differentiating electron entered into the 6d orbital. Here is the 5d orbital. Here is the 4d orbital. Here 3d orbital. So this is already completed here. Now, how many series of elements are available in d block elements? There are 4 series. There 10 groups in 4 series. What are these 4 series? 3d series, 4d series, 5d series, and 6d series are possible. 3d, 4d, 5d, and 6d series are possible. So, okay. So next, these are also called as transition elements. That is why 3d series is called as first transition series. So 3d series also called as first transition series. This is 4d is second transition series. 5d third transition series. 6d fourth transition series. That means 3d is called as first transition series. First transition series, second transition series, third transition series, fourth transition series. Because all d block elements are generally called as transition elements. So all d block elements are generally called as transition elements. So these series are also called as first transition, second transition, third transition, fourth transition. First transition means 3d series. Second transition means 4d series. No doubt, same element. Next, the last group element, zinc, cadmium, mercury. Here, s orbital is completely filled, d orbital also completely filled. S orbital, d orbital are completely filled. See here, the general outmost electronic configuration one. Here, S2, D1, S2, D1, S2, 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 S2. Slight confusion. Here, S2. In most of the cases, 4S2 is the common thing. See what it was. I'm writing general outermost electronic configuration. 4s2 is the common one. Sometimes S1 also exists. See here. S1 also exists. That's it. Not only 2, 1 also there. 4s1 to 2. 4s1 to 2 is possible. Next at the same time, 3D 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. 3D series elements are there. 3D here 1 to 10 are possible. 3D 1 to 10. That means the general electronic configuration for 3D series element is 4s1 to 2, 3D 1 to 10. 4s1 to 2, 3D 1 to 10. This is the general outermost electronic configuration for 3D series elements. Only for 3D. Now 4D series elements, that is 5s1 to 2, 4D 1 to 10. For 5D series elements, 5D series elements, 6s1 to 2, 5D 1 to 10. For 6D transition series, 7s1 to 2, 6D 1 to 10 is the combination. That is 3D series, 4D series, 5D series, 6D series. These are the general electronic configuration for that particular series. In general, all together, In general, altogether, the general outermost electronic configuration for D block element is D block element. Yes, 1 to 2 is common. D 1 to 10 is common. If it is 3, it is 4 ra. If it is 4, it is 5 ra. 5, 6 ra. 6, 7 ra. That means if it is D is, it is N, it is N minus 1. Am I correct? If 4 is N, so automatically 3 is N minus 1. 4 is 1, 3 is N minus 1. See here, N is 1 to 2, N minus 1, D 1 to 10 is the general outermost electronic configuration for D block element. General outermost electronic configuration for D block element is N is 1 to 2, N minus 1, D 1 to 10. So therefore, here I am rewriting this one is replaced. It is Ns 1 to 2, N minus 1, D 1 to 10 is the general outermost electronic configuration. General outermost electronic configuration. Therefore, for D block element, the general outermost electronic configuration is Ns 1 to 2, N minus 1, D 1 to 10. So in particular different series, these are the electronic configurations. Please note down this point. I don't send the note. So please read, note down this point. Okay. Next point. The last group, what are these? There is 12th group elements, zinc, cadmium, mercury are there. In this zinc, cadmium, mercury, the general outermost electronic configuration only for that one, Ns1 to Ns2, N minus 1, D10. For this, that group element, Ns2, N minus 1, D10. That is the general outermost electronic configuration for 12th group elements only for 12th group elements. These elements, in these elements, S subarray will completely fill, D subarray will completely fill. Okay, so these elements are not called as transition elements. Very, very important, my dear boys. These are not called as transition elements. These are called as non-transition elements. Zinc, cadmium, mercury, these elements are called as non-transition elements. Why, sir? Why non-transition elements? So generally the transition properties is due to the presence of unpaired electrons. The transition properties, that is the properties are in between or exist. That in between properties are exist only due to the presence of unpaired electrons. But here is S is completely filled, D also completely filled. So no unpaired electrons are exist in D particular series. In D, no unpaired electron exists. In D, no unpaired electron exists. That is why. So those elements are not considered as transition elements. They are called as non-transition elements. Therefore, for non-transition elements, the general outermost electronic configuration is Ns2, N minus 1, D, 10. Ns2, N minus 1, D, 10. That is the general outermost electronic configuration for non-transition elements. Why? Zinc, cadmium, mercury not called as a transition element because they don't have any unpaired d electron. Elements having at least one unpaired d electron, either directly or indirectly, either in one of its oxidation states, automatically they are considered as transition elements. So next one, next series, that is copper, silver, gold. Copper, silver, gold. This copper, silver, gold, these elements, copper, silver, gold, these elements are called as typical transition elements. Copper, silver, gold are called as a typical transition elements. Their outermost electronic configuration is 4s1 3d10 means s1 configuration, d10 configuration. It is ns1 configuration, it is n minus 1 d10 configuration. NS1. This is the general outermost electronic configuration for typical transition elements. Why, sir? Why these are called as a typical transition? These are transition elements, no doubt. But special type of transition elements, even though having D10 configuration, D10 configuration means, so in this case, once again, no unpaired electron exists. Here also no unpaired electron, here also no unpaired electron. Here is no unpaired electron, here also no unpaired electron. But for one of its oscillation, let us take copper. Copper exists in Cu+1 form and Cu+2 form. And in Cu+2 form, D9 configuration exists. D9 plus 2 means removal of 2 electrons, one from s orbital, one from d orbital. That means D10 is changed to D9. D10 has unpaired electron. D9, it has unpaired electron. It has unpaired. That means directly these elements have no unpaired electron, but one of its oscillation state having unpaired electron. That's why the properties are just similar to transition properties. That's why these are called as special type of transition elements. These are called as typical transition elements. Typical transition elements. That means zinc, cadmium, mercury are non-transition elements, but these are D block elements. But these are D block elements. So generally D block elements are called as the transition elements. Generally, D block elements are called transition elements. In particular, zinc, cadmium, mercury are called as the non-transition elements. In particular, zinc, cadmium, mercury are called as non-transition elements. That means all D block elements are not transition elements. Am I correct? All D block elements are not transition elements because zinc, cadmium, mercury are considered as available in D block, but not considered as transition elements. But not considered as a transition element. But all transition elements are D block elements. Am I correct? All transition elements are D block elements. Am I correct or not? So because these are all D block elements are also called as transition elements. Why not? No. Why no? Why? Who is that? The name is not same. So here, these are all D block elements. But zinc, cadmium, mercury are non-transition. That means all D block elements not to be a transition element because these are D block elements, not a transition element. But all transition elements must be D block elements because up to this transition elements. But these are all D block elements. Okay. So like this, two statements are there. So all D block elements are not transition elements, but all transition elements are equal to D block elements. All transition elements are equal to D block elements, no doubt. So these are two important statements, my dear boys. Two important statements. Now these are the general properties. These are the general properties. Now what are the characteristic properties of these D block elements? So characteristic properties of characteristic properties of D block elements. Please mind it. These are very, very important points. Just statements many. All discussions we will discuss in your second year intermediate. Just properties. The statements are I'm giving. These are hard metal cells. These are hard metal cells. But S block elements are soft metal cells. S block elements are soft metals. That's why they are easy to cut with knife. But these are hard metals, just like our iron. Is iron cut with knife? No. That means these are hard metal cells. So next one. They have high melting and boiling points. But S block elements are, no doubt those are also metals, but they have low melting and boiling points. But here, D block elements have high melting and boiling point. Next, third point. Third point, they show variable oxidation state. Means more than one oxidation state. That means a single element exists in more than one oxidation state. For example, copper is there. Copper shows Cu plus 1 state and Cu plus 2 stated. That means copper has two oxidation states, plus 1 and plus 2. That is, one is us, another one is eken, Q plus and Q pre. Similarly, iron shows Fe plus 2 states and also Fe plus 3 stated. Ferrous and ferritin. Manganese Mn shows Mn plus 2 states, Mn plus 6 states and also Mn plus 7 states and Mn plus 4 states. That means same Mn exhibits more than one oxidation state. That means available of a single element in more than one oxidation state is nothing but oxidation state is not fixed. It is changeable entity. It is variable entity. That is why these oxidation states are called as variable oxidation state. So oxidation state is also called as valency, my dear boys. Variable valency or variable oxidation state. So here also valency. This is also called as valency. They show variable valency or variable oxidation state. That means existence of single element in more than one oxidation state. Existence of a single element in more than one oxidation state is the variable valency or variable oxidation state. So these are the general cases. Next, why, sir? We will discuss later. Okay. Next one, fourth point. They form colored compounds. Transition elements generally form colored compounds. That means if transition element is there in the compound, that should be most of the cases colored in nature. For example, CuSO4 5H2O. Here copper is there. So it is blue in color. Blue color compound. CuSO4 5H2O. FeSO4 7H2O. Here Fe plus 2 is there. D block element. It is light green in color. Light green in color. Okay. That means like this. For example, MnSO4 2H2O, I think. It is pink in color. Flesh color. Pink in color. Light pink. MnSO4. That means here Mn is our D block element. That means hydrated salts of copper, our D block element. Hydrated salts of hydrated. That means water molecules are there. Hydrated salts of our D block element are generally colored in nature. Why? Why those exhibit colors? We will discuss later in other chapters. So not here. MnSO4. That is the salt ending. MnSO4 2H2O. That is the salt. That salt is in pink color. That salt is in pink color, just like our flesh color. Flesh color. Okay. Flesh maamsam color untundi sir, light pink color lo. So a flesh color lo untundi MnSO4. Okay. So like this, colors are exhibited by these D block elements, hydrated salts. Okay. Next one. Next point. That is fifth point. That is, these are generally paramagnetic in nature. These are generally paramagnetic in nature. Most of the D block elements are paramagnetic. It is very, very important statement. Most of the D block elements are paramagnetic. So it is due to the presence of unpaired electrons in their outermost orbit. So paramagnetic means that is the material attracted by the magnet when that is placed in magnetic field. Most of that means any substance. It is a substance. It is a magnet, my dear boys. So this is the magnetic field. Now I place a substance in this magnetic field, it is attracted with that magnet, that is the paramagnetic element. So there is another substance which is not attracted by the magnet, which is taken as a diamagnetic element. So attracted by the magnet, not attracted by the magnet. Attracted by the magnet or paramagnetic, not attracted, which is generally called as the repelled. Not attraction means repelling in. Repelled by the magnet is a diamagnetic substance. If this attraction is strong than that of that one, ferromagnetic, we will feel it. That means our D block elements mostly magnetic means attraction. So attracted with a magnet. That is magnetic property. Okay. So these elements are attracted. These compounds of these elements are generally attracted in with magnet when these are placed in magnetic field. That means most of these elements are paramagnetic in nature. Most of these elements. But zinc, cadmium, mercury. But zinc, cadmium, mercury are diamagnetic. But zinc, cadmium, mercury are diamagnetic because of absence of unpaired electron. The presence of unpaired electron is paramagnetic. Absence of unpaired electron is diamagnetic element. The magnetic property of these elements is calculated with the help of mu is equal to under root n into n plus 2 Bohr magnet. Bm, the symbol, mu is equal to, that is the magnetic moment, mu is equal to under root n into n plus 2. Here n is equal to number of unpaired electrons. Here n is equal to number of unpaired electrons. Okay. So my dear boys, please stop your videos. Please stop your videos. So magnetic property is calculated with the help of this formula. Mu is equal to under root n into n plus 2. Here n is the number of unpaired electrons in that particular element. So having unpaired electron is paramagnetic. No unpaired electron is diamagnetic. Zinc, cadmium, mercury, all the orbitals are completely filled. That means they have no unpaired electrons. That is why those are diamagnetic in nature. So next one. So variable valency, this is also due to the unpaired electrons. So zinc, cadmium, mercury doesn't show variable oxygen state. So variable valency not for zinc, cadmium, mercury. That means, my dear boys, all these properties are applicable only for transit elements, not for zinc, cadmium, mercury. Not for zinc, cadmium, mercury. Next point. That is, they form complex compounds easily. 6th point. They form complex compounds easily. They form complex compounds. What are these complex compounds? Complex compounds means generally, see my dear boys, when NaCl, that is the salt. If this NaCl dissolved in water, is it soluble or not soluble? Yes or no? Is NaCl soluble in water or not? Our table salts. Soluble in water or not? Tell me, my dear boys. Yes. Okay. That is the salt which is soluble in water. That is the salt which is soluble in water. But this complex is, yes, this complex is, when dissolved in water, it is almost non-soluble in nature. Non-soluble salt. So some peculiar properties are there. So in second year, we will discuss about this complex compounds. Up to now, okay. So these are non-soluble salts. Non-soluble salts. The type of non-soluble salts, nothing but complex salts. So these are easily formed by our D block elements. So easily formed by our D block elements. The best example for these are example CO, cobalt, NaH3 6 times Cl3. CO, NaH3 6 times Cl3. Yes, good, my dear boy. Next one. K4, Fe, CN6. K4, Fe, CN6. These are the examples for our complex compounds. These are the examples for our complex compounds. Next point. Next point, that is seventh one. These elements act as good catalysts. These elements act as good catalysts. Most of these elements are salts of these elements. Acts as good catalysts. So these elements act as good catalysts. So I am writing here. So that is act as good catalyst. Example for that one is iron powder. Iron, our D block element, is a catalyst in Haber's process. Haber's process for the synthesis of ammonia. Haber's process, it is the synthesis of ammonia from nitrogen and hydrogen. There, iron powder acts as catalyst. Iron powder, iron molybdenum mixture. Okay. Next, palladium, our D block element, a catalyst in Ostwald's process. It is for HNO3 preparation. Ostwald process is HNO3 preparation. In the HNO3 preparation, platinum metal acts as catalyst. Haber's process is nothing but ammonia synthesis modified. So that is done by Haber. That is on the honor of this is Haber process is named that process. So that is ammonia is synthesized. Here the equation is N2 plus 3H2 reversible with 2 NH3. In this way, ammonia is prepared. N2 plus 3H2. In that reaction, the catalyst is iron powder. Okay. In Ostwald's process, the catalyst is platinum. Please be mind. Please be mind. Okay. Next one, third one. Third example. Nickel. Metal nickel is a catalyst in hydrogenation of oil. It is used as a catalyst in hydrogenation of oil. Vanaspati oil, dalda, like that. There, unsaturated hydrocarbons are converted into saturated hydrocarbons. In that process, nickel acts as good catalyst. So you might have iron, platinum, nickel. Are these are our D block elements or not? Yes. So our D block element, no doubt, transit element acts as good catalyst in different processes. Good catalyst in the process. Okay. Next one. 6 pointer. They form complexes easily. Complex compounds means water insoluble salts. Water insoluble salts. They form complex compounds easily. And last point. That is, they form interstitial compounds. They form interstitial compounds. Interstitial compounds means non-stoichiometric compounds. Interstitial compounds means non-stoichiometric compounds. These are nothing but interstitial means non-stoichiometric compounds, nothing but unbalanced compounds. Rules are not obeyed. These are violated. So the type of compounds are called as interstitial compounds. Interstitial means, see here, there is a solid. These are the solid atoms. So there is a gap between atoms and solids. So see my advice, this is the gap. This blue shade is the gap between the solids and solids. This gap is called as interstitial space. The gap is called as interstitial space. That interstitial space is occupied by another compound. So these solids are nothing but our D block metals. These solids are nothing but our D block metals. So D block metal solids have interstitial gaps these interstitial gases are occupied by hydrogen, boron like non-metals. Hydrogen, boron like non-metals. So that means those are fixed at their positions and form a compound. So here unbalanced compounds are there. They doesn't form any rules. There is a crisscross rule, something is, no rules are followed. That means the type of compounds are called as interstitial compounds. So those are formed by our D block elements. These are all some characteristic properties towards your D block elements. D block elements. Because D block elements are also called as the transition elements, these properties are also applicable for transitional elements. These properties are also applicable for transition elements. What is the general outermost electronic configuration D block element? What is the general outermost electronic configuration for D block element? That is NS122, N-1D, 1 to 10. What is the common oxidation state for D block element? That is +2. And please note down this point also. +2 is the common oxidation state for D block element. +2 is the common oxidation state for D block element. For S block element, +1 and +2 only. For P block elements, most of the available end. But D block elements, the common oxidation state is +2 only. D block elements, the common oxidation state is +2. This is all about your D block elements. So what are D block elements? These are the elements in which the differentiating electron entered into the D subenergy level or D orbital. Okay, I will upload this video today. You don't worry. I will upload this video in your YouTube channel, our YouTube channel. So if you have any doubts, so please see it once again. Now, our topic is F block elements. F block elements. Okay, what are these F block elements? No doubt. Here, the differentiating electron entered into F subenergy level. F subenergy level. So these elements are called as F block elements. Okay, what are these F block elements? So these are placed at the bottom of the periodic table in two series. In two series. One is lanthanide series and the other is actinide series. One is lanthanide series and the other is actinide series. Okay, so here the general outermost electronic configuration, lanthanide series, this lanthanide series term, that is cerium to lutetium. Cerium to lutetium. Cerium atomic number is 58, lutetium is 71. Cerium to lutetium, 58 to 71 atomic number. Total 14 elements are there. Total 14 elements. In all these cases, the differentiating electron entered into the F orbital ending. F orbital. Next, actinide series. Here, once again, that is thorium to lawrencium. Thorium to lawrencium. Thorium atomic number is 90. Lawrencium is 103. Thorium to lawrencium. Total 14 elements are there. Total 14 elements are there. Okay. So next, in these elements, in lanthanide, these are placed in third B or third group and sixth period in the periodic table. Lanthanides are placed in third B group and sixth period. Sixth period elements. Actinides, this series element that is present in, no doubt, third B or third group and seventh period. So actinides are present in seventh period, lanthanides are present in sixth period. These are also called as inner transition elements. Another name for this block element is inner transition element. Another name for a block element is inner transition element. Inner transition element. Okay. Why, sir? Why is the fragrance inner transition element? These are innerly available, innerly present in transition element. Okay. So lanthanum and actinium are D block elements, but not F block. Already I told you. Lanthanum and actinium are D block elements. Transition means the properties that is in between. The transition means in between. Medium properties. Lanthanum and actinium. Lanthanum atomic number 57 ra. Actinium atomic number 89 ra. Lanthanum and actinium are D block elements, not F block elements, my dear boys. These are not included in lanthanides and actinides. But those elements are present in lanthanum box. These elements are present in actinium box. That's why those are called as lanthanides and actinides. Next, the general outermost electronic configuration for F block elements is, so please be mind.
N minus 1. Yeah.
Three series are there. So NS2, N minus 1, D, 1 or 0. It is important, boys. N minus 1, D or 0, not 1 to 10. It is 1 or 0. N minus 2, F, 1 to 14. N minus 2, F, 1 to 14. This is the general outermost electronic configuration for F block elements and also inner transition elements. F block elements and inner transition elements having general outermost electronic configuration N minus 2, F, 1 to 14, N minus 1, D, 1 or 0, N is 2. N is the orbit number. That is here N is equal to period number. Let it be. Period number. N is nothing but period number. In which period lanthanides are available? In which period lanthanides are available? Already I wrote here. Where it is? In which period lanthanides? Here. These are lanthanides. These are placed in sixth period. For lanthanides, N is equal to 6. For lanthanides, N is equal to 6. For actinides, N is equal to 7. Period number. N is equal to 7. Now, the electronic configuration for lanthanides and actinides are, the outermost electronic configuration for lanthanides. Outermost electronic configuration of lanthanides. Put N is equal to 6 in this one. Put N is equal to 6 here. So that is 6 minus 2, 4. 4F 1 to 14. 6 minus 1, 5. 5D, 1 or 0. Next, 6S2. 6S2. That is the outermost electronic configuration for. That is the outermost electronic configuration only for lanthanides. Only for lanthanides. That means in all these elements, the electron, the last electron entered into the 4F orbital. That's why this lanthanide series is called as 4F series. First series is called as lanthanide series. That lanthanide series is also called as 4F series. Just like 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D series. It is a 4F series. Next one. In actinide, for actinide, N is equal to 6. Now, outermost electronic configuration for actinide, that is, what is that? Put N is equal to 7. That is 5F, 1 to 14, 6D, 1 or 0, 7S2 and 7S2. It is the outermost electronic configuration for actinides and actinides. Here the last electron entered into 5F orbitals. That is why this actinide series is also called as 5F series. These actinide elements are also called as 5F. That means F block elements are broadly divided into two series. 4F series, 5F series. 4F series is nothing but lanthanide series. 5F series is nothing but actinide series. Why these are taken as 4F, 5F? So their outermost electron, that is differentiating electron. Here the differentiating electron entered into the 4F orbital. Here the differentiating electron entered into the 5F orbital. That is why there is 4F series. This is 5F series. In general, it is for total F block elements. It is F block elements general electronic configuration. This is for lanthanide. This is for actinide. This is for actinide. Next, here also, just like in transition elements, that is in J block elements, these can also form. First one, where, my dear boys, here the common oxidation state. The common oxidation state is equal to +3 for transition elements. +3, why sir? These two electrons, this one electrons are generally easily removed. Losing of 3 electrons gives +3 charge. That means these electrons are easily coming out. That is why +3 is the common oxidation state. For D block elements, it is +2. For F block elements, it is +3. For F block elements, it is +3. Okay. So general characteristic properties. All those properties are also available here. That is variable oxidation state. Next one, complex compounds are formed. Complex compounds, next paramagnetic in nature. Paramagnetic in nature. Paramagnetic in nature. Paramagnetic in nature. Okay. All these properties are also possible. Common oxidation state is +3. Common oxidation state is +3. It's not no need, my dear boys. All transition elements, all there is lanthanide elements, all actinide elements. Try to by heart yourself. No need here. So just starting and ending elements you should write. Okay. Swanit, what is your doubt? Swanit, waiting for you. What is your doubt? Okay, please first wait. At last, please ask the doubt. Okay, inner transition variable oxidation state complex compounds, there is something that is similarities in their properties. Here, our F block elements are similarities in their properties. Similarities in their properties. All the have transition elements, inner transition elements, similar. That means almost they have same size, almost they have same color. Almost they have same color. So like this, so they have similarities in their physical and chemical properties. Most of the cases, similarities in their chemical properties. So these are all F block elements. These are all F block elements, and they have some characteristic properties. All about this is different blocks. Is this clear, my dear boys? This is all about your SPD and F block elements. SPD and F block elements. Okay. Okay, finish. So finally, what are the general electronic configuration for different blocks? I'm going to conclude here. See. Block, general outermost electronic configuration. Next, common oxidation state. common oxygen state. First one, block, S block end. General outermost electronic configuration, NS122 ra. NS122. Common oxygen state, +1 for first year group element, +2 for second year group element. +1 and +2. Next, second one, P block ra. It is NS2, NP126. NS2, NP126. So here not possible, no common oxygen state. No common oxygen state. Next, third one, D block elements. It is N-1, D1 to 10, NS1 to 2. N-1, D1 to 10, NS1 to 2. Here common oxygen state is a +3. Sorry. Common oxygen state is +2. Next, F block elements. F block elements. N-2. F1 to 14. N-1 D. 1 or 0. NS2. Here +3 is the common oxygen state. +3 is the common oxygen state. You should by heart, my dear boys, these electronic configurations. Most of the cases asked to be here. Okay, this is all about your block. Now I am taking types of the elements. So types of the elements. Another type of classification, that is the types of elements. Types of elements. Now, entire periodic table is broadly divided into 4 types based on completeness and incompleteness of shell cell. Based on completeness and incompleteness of cells, all the entire elements in your periodic table are broadly divided into 4 types. 4 types. It is also based on properties of the elements. Properties of the elements. These elements are also broadly divided into 4 types. So, how many types of elements are there? 4 types of elements. Those are nothing but 1, noble gas elements, inert gas elements. Also called as type 1 elements. Type 1 elements. Second one, representative elements. Elements, nothing but type 2 elements. Representative elements. Next, transitional elements, nothing but type 3 elements. Also called as the type 3 elements. Next, fourth one, inner transition elements. Inner transition elements. These are nothing but type 4 elements. Type 4 elements. So, inert gases, representative elements, transition elements, inner transition elements. These are the 4 different types of elements. See my dear boys. So I am explaining one by one. So a little fast. See here. It is the atom. It is the nucleus of the atom. These are the different orbits around that nucleus. These are the different orbits around that nucleus. This is called as a last orbit, which is also called as a valency shell. In particular, it is called as nth shell. Last orbit is called as nth shell, valency shell, or also called as ultimate shell. Ultimate shell, whatever it may be, it is the shell end. Last orbit, that is nth shell end. This one, that is last but one. Last but one. It is called as penultimate shell అండి. Penultimate shell, which is n minus 1th shell అండి. n minus 1th shell. Okay. Next one. This one is, this is before, that is n minus 2th shell అండి, which is called as anti-penultimate shell అండి. Anti-penultimate shell. So see here, ultimate shell, that is the last shell, penultimate shell, last but one shell. So inner shell, something inner shell is called as anti-penultimate shell. These are the different shell sets. So see here, my dear boys. First one, if nth shell is completely filled, that is called as type 1 element shell. If nth shell is completely filled, that is the type 1 element. Next one, nth shell is incompletely filled, or called as type 2 element. Nth shell is incompletely filled or called type 2. If it is completely filled, that is type 1. If it is not, it is only incompletely filled. Is only incompletely filled. That is the type 2 element shell. Next, nth shell and n minus 1th shell are incompletely filled. Incompletely filled, or type 2 element, sorry, type 3 element shell. That is type 3 elements. If nth shell, n minus 1th shell, n minus 2 shell, last 3 shells, last shell, only last shell, last 2 shells, last 3 shells are incompletely filled. Or called as inner transition, that is a type 4 element cell. These are type 4 elements. Type 1 means noble gases or inert gases. Type 2 means representative element. Type 3 means in transition element. Type 4 is inner transition element. That means last cell is completely filled, inert gases. Last cell is only incompletely filled, representative element. Last 2 shells are incompletely filled, transition element. Last 3 shells are incompletely filled, inner transition element. Depending on the completeness and incompleteness of the shells, all the available elements are broadly divided into 4 types. Next. Please wait, my dear boys. I'm going to complete this concept here. Now, inert gases. These are nothing but 18th group elements. So the outermost electronic configuration NS2, NP6, except for helium. For helium, it is 1s2 configuration. So octet configuration is there, not involved in any chemical reactions, because they are octet configuration. They have octet configuration. These are not involved in any chemical reactions. So that's why these are available in 8. These are generated from 8. That is the aerogen. Rarely available in atmosphere. That is why these are called as rare gases. Okay. So something special behavior is that there is special gases. So these are all inert gases. These are nothing but type 1 elements. General outermost electronic configuration NS2, NP6. Next one. Representative elements. These are nothing but type 2 elements. That means first group, second group, 13th to 17th group. First, second, 13th to 17th group are representative elements. Here, general outermost electronic configuration NS122, NP125 is the general outermost electronic configuration. NS122 for 1 and 2. So NP1, not only 1 to 5, it is 0 to 5 is the better way. So NS122, N minus 2, that is NP125, 0 to 5. 0 to 5. This is representative elements. And all S and P block elements except the zero group elements, all S and P block elements except zero group elements, because zero group elements comes under this one, 18th group element, except that 18th group element, remaining all S and P, except 18th group comes under this class end. That means the properties including that S and P are using here representative elements. Next, transition elements. Next one, transition elements. Almost going to complete it. Please wait. Transition elements. That means type 3 elements. Type 3 elements. That means last shoe shell here. Last shell is incompletely filled. Here, last shell, nth shell is completely filled. Last shell is incomplete. Last shell only incompletely filled. Next, last two shells are incompletely filled. That is, the nth shell and n minus 1th shell are incompletely filled. Almost except zinc, cadmium, mercury, all D block elements comes under this category. So all those properties I explained in D block elements. So also I explained here also. Okay. So all D block element concepts are applied here also. Rewrite those properties here. Next, all D block elements. Next, inner transition elements. That is fourth category, inner transition element. Here, general outermost electronic configuration are, that is NS 1 to 2, N minus 1D 1 to 10. Just like in D block, it is the general outermost electronic configuration. Here is the general outermost electronic configuration. It is the general outermost electronic configuration. Now, inner transition elements, these are type 4 elements. Type 4 elements. Here, last 3 orbits are incompletely filled. Last 3 orbits are incompletely filled. So, F block elements, all F block elements comes under this category. That is N minus 2, F 1 to 14, N minus 1, D 1 or 0, NS is the inner transition element. All inner transition elements are here F block element properties are applied. Here D block element properties are applied. Here S and P block element properties are applied. Here only transition element, that is the zero group element properties are applied. All those properties are already completed in previous sessions. So please check once again. So these are the different types of elements. So type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4, type 1 inert gases, type 2 representative element, type 3 transition element, type 4 inner transition element. These are nothing but F block elements. These are nothing but D block elements except zinc, cadmium, mercury already just completed. So these are nothing but S and P block elements except 18th group elements. Next, this is only for 18th group elements. Okay. So these are the different classifications. Tomorrow we will discuss some more classifications and some concepts. So okay. Right now I'm closing here. Thank you, my dear boys. Have a nice day.